I'm seeing a lot of people lately that are sick. I've built a practice working with people with pain, but in recent years I've been selling CBD oils, and because of that, lots of people, particularly with cancer, are coming to me, and they're hoping that these oils are going to heal their cancer. Unfortunately, a lot of them are desperate because they've been through the system, they've had heavy bouts of chemotherapy and radiation and the likes, and they're quite ill. It's not working for everybody. It works for some, and it's absolutely fine what people are doing. But when they're turning to these natural medicines, what's happening is it's like a last resort. They're desperate, and what they don't realize is CBD oil isn't going to just be a magic wand for them. There's lots of other aspects of medicine or things that they're going to have to work with to hopefully heal their cancers, as well as other illnesses. There's so many people turning up nowadays. It's like the headlines are saying cannabis cures cancer, but the reality is you need to look at what created the cancer in the first place. There's lots and lots of aspects. It's like this body of ours is an organism, and you need to feed it properly. You need to look at what's damaging it. You need to look at your diet. You need to look at many, many aspects. And then your CBD oil can have a better chance to work for you. For instance, I liken it to a flower pot. You have a bunch of soil in the flower pot, you plant a seed, up pops a plant. But you feed the soil. You put good medicine or good minerals into the soil, and the plant thrives. If you just pour water on and you don't keep feeding the soil, next year your plant won't be as good. The following year it'll probably die. You didn't give it what it needed. The body is the exact same. What people, particularly in the Western world, and we live in the Western world and we're all guilty of it, we've been following an idea of a food pyramid for many, many years. Most of us do that. We get up in the morning, most of us have cereals for breakfast. We go to work, we have sandwiches at lunchtime. We come home, we have our meat and veg, whatever it is. We eat fruit during the day. And we're guided to, it's in our psyche now, that food pyramid, that we're being guided by it. And unfortunately, if you look at since the food pyramid came out to today, it's maybe 50 odd years. What's happening? Why are so many people getting sick? I've heard people say, well, there's more people on the planet now, we're living longer, but these illnesses are happening in younger people. It's all happening. You name it. They reckon in 20 years' time, 1 in 2 people are going to have cancer. So there's something wrong. And you have diabetes, you have heart problems, it's all there. Young children today, there's so many teenagers suffering with anxiety and depression issues. The suicide rates are huge. It's all going on. And we absolutely have to look at preventing this. The people that are coming to me, for lots of them, I look and go, these changes have to be huge. And lots of people aren't able to make those changes because the food we're eating is highly, what's the right way to put this for you? Lots of the foods that we're eating today turn to glucose in our system. And glucose is a form of sugar, and sugar is highly addictive. So most of us are going around in an addictive state where our body is addicted to this glucose. And we're feeding it, even with what the idea of a healthy diet is still predominantly full of glucose. And it's causing huge inflammation in the body. So you have all these illnesses coming in many guises. And bottom line, at the very base level, is it's inflammation being caused in the cells, right through the body, through too much glucose in the system. And this is where we need to change it. And when you get the person who's cancer, for instance, let's use cancer as an example, it's because it's so big out there. People don't realize cancer thrives on glucose. And if you look at how they test for cancer on a PET scan, for instance. What they do in a PET scan is they inject glucose into the body. They send it around the body. When it gets to the tumour becomes active. And this is how they know if a tumour is malignant or not. They watch it happening. Science knows that fact. Cancer lives on glucose. Bottom line, what we have to do as the people that are sick, we all have to do it. We have to stop putting that glucose into our body. It's known fact that cancer cannot strive in an environment that doesn't have glucose in it. It just can't live there. So, for instance, if you take CBD oil that you want to try and cure your cancer with, you have to stop feeding the tumour. Yes, the CBD oil can go a long way to killing the tumour, but if you keep feeding it, you're not going to win that battle. So it has to be diet. Conventional medicine is great. It does great things. But again, somebody has a cancer treatment and they get the all clear, the cancer is cured. They say to their doctor, what should I eat? I'm going home now and you're going to test me for the next 5 years. And hopefully you'll tell me in 5 years' time, I'm clear, I'm done, I'm away I go. But ask the doctor, what should I eat? And he's going to tell you, eat anything. Don't change anything. Just keep doing what you're doing. That's a problem. What made you sick in the first place? What fed this tumour? You have to look at not feeding it again. And unfortunately, lots of people go home. They're scared stiff because cancer is a death sentence. To the majority of people, cancer is a death sentence. So now I have to go home and sit on my own for 5 years without the help of the medical people, other than I go for my scans every 6 months or every 12 months. Yes, they're helping me. But what do I do in the meantime? I'm terrified, I'm scared. I'm still eating the food that created the problem in the first place because it's all glucose in my system. And is the cancer going to come back? Big chance it's going to come back if you keep working with the glucose. So this is the aspect that has to be looked at. Stop putting the glucose into the body. People don't realise I eat healthy. I get up in the morning, I have porridge. It's a grain. I eat brown bread and soup at lunchtime. More grains. What's the soup made from? Good fresh vegetables. If they're root vegetables, they turn to glucose in your liver. All grains turn to glucose in your liver. Bar none. Even the healthy ones, even quinoa, turns to glucose in the liver. We're living on carbs, and all carbs and processed foods. Processed foods are mainly made of sugars and carbs. All sugar, all carbs, all root vegetables, and most fruits turn to glucose in the liver. So if you've had something like cancer, you're going to feed it again. Huge chance it's going to come back. So it's understanding how you're living, what you're putting into your body. This is what you have to stop. And then it can help you to settle, because sugar keeps sending us into spikes. It keeps giving us highs and lows. And that messes with the nervous system. And I'm already nervous. I'm afraid. I'm scared. I have cancer. So we have to break that. And by bringing in these foods that don't cause those highs and lows, we settle a little bit better. We'll feel better. You will feel better. The diet has to shift to include fats. And then people think, oh, my cholesterol will go up. I'll put weight on. No, that doesn't happen. Fats don't create that. Our body works much better with fat. The glucose is killing us, and yeah, we need to look at this. We need to have a serious look at it. We need to change the way we're eating. That food pyramid needs to be turned on its head, and it's happening. There's lots and lots of great doctors and scientists, especially in America now, just treating all these major illnesses with that change, low carb diet. It has to happen. For the last 50 years or more, we tend to follow America with all these trends. And that food pyramid idea came from America. And now, 40, 50 years later, just quite simply look at the graphs of all the major illnesses. They're going up and up and up. They're not coming down. The conventional medicine doesn't have a cure for cancer. I know they're making great steps forward in it, and it's great, it's brilliant. Let them work with you, but take responsibility as well for yourself. Heart disease, it's on the up. Diabetes, it's flying, it's on the up. People don't realise Alzheimer's, it's on the up, big time. There's Alzheimer's homes all over the country popping up, new ones, new buildings being made. Alzheimer's is now absolutely known as type 3 diabetes. Too much sugar in the brain. The brain needs fat, it needs cholesterol to protect the cells. And if you're doing that, you won't get Alzheimer's. It's the same with all the big illnesses. They ultimately all come from inflammation in the system. And I see a time when working naturally with all these illnesses, we'll no longer be naming them as illnesses. We'll just be looking at bringing down inflammatory markers in the body. And these illnesses cannot be there when you change the environment from feeding with glucose and feed with fats instead. We need to reintroduce the fats. Natural saturated fats, not polyunsaturated fats like heated oils. They're absolutely a no-no. Margarine, no good. You need coconut oils, you need butter, you need MCT oil, medium chain triglycerides. That's what MCT is. It's refined coconut oil. And anything else, avocados, nuts, olive oil just poured, not heated. These are very good fats that we really need to get back into our diets. They've been pushed out and pushed out and pushed out. We've been told they're bad for us. But look at the way illness has gone since those things have been pushed out. It needs to change. And we're the only ones that can change it ourselves.
Mark, one last question before I cut that piece. Specifically, when people come to you, you're able to sit down with them and guide them into these better foods.
Yeah.
That's really what you do, isn't it?
Yeah.
You give people, would you be able to say that for us? When you come to me, I sit down with you, we examine your lifestyle, I find out if you've had cancer or if that's what you're fearing, and I guide you onto a plan, or I tell you, based on all my knowledge, which is extensive, I kind of guide you in the way that will either help you to get better, that's what the focus is, or will keep you disease free.
Yeah.
That kind. Would you be able to say like a brief little thing
Yeah.
about that? So when people come to you specifically, whenever you're ready.
If I say, what I'm doing these days is when people come and they're in trouble, they have an illness and they want an oil to help with that illness, I'm now sitting them down and telling them the truth about this. Yes, the oil will help you, but you also need to address your diet, and I'll guide you with that, no problems. I've built extensive knowledge around the whole thing, and I've looked at lots of different ways of eating. I've looked at veganism, vegetarianism, working with meats in a high-fat diet. There's many ways this can be done. None of them are wrong, none of them are perfect either, but you can refine them and make them perfect for yourself, and I'll assist you with that, no problem. It's essential that you do it. There is no magic wand for these big illnesses, and we have to just understand that we're creating them ourselves, and I can help you and assist you with those in many ways, it's particularly through diet advice.
Fantastic. And one last question on that, Mark. Do you know the way you said sometimes people, that lady was a perfect example. You caught her and she was going to eat pizza. It's like, don't do that because that's doom.
Yeah.
So, yes, you're there for them, but then when they go off on their own, if they follow your advice, they have a good chance. But if they start reverting to their old ways, it's disaster. You're not saying that you're the way forward or that you're the cure, but if they listen to what you say, it works. But if they go off after their 6 months or whatever with you and being very good, and then they start falling back into their own way, fuck it, that's the doom. Would you just be able to tell me again?
Like it being maybe a lifestyle change rather than a diet.
And just because they're not seeing you anymore because they think they're done, don't revert to the old ways because that's doom. Okay. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Well, what we have to realise when we look at illness this way and we change the diet is probably a word I shouldn't use. Lifestyle change is better, as regards what we're putting into our body. This has to be a lifetime thing. It's not a fad diet that you're going to go on for 6 months and then I feel great, I'm better, and I go back to my old ways. It's hard. It can be hard because sugar is highly addictive and we're all in addiction with food. We're absolutely all in addiction if we're eating the normal carbohydrate Western diet. So when you make this shift, it has to be a long-term plan. It takes time. It takes you need to give it at least 3 months to really get your system to shift. And when you shift, hopefully at that stage, you won't be craving, because that craving is addiction and it's quite hard to beat. And if you're ill and you're down, that can be difficult, but it's worth the effort. It's amazing when you make the shift. You don't need to eat so much. You don't get the cravings, and it will encourage you to keep going. I know not everybody can do this, and people try their best and it's too difficult, and that's okay. But that's when emotional states come into it. So again, that's something else we can do at another stage. But making that shift into a lifestyle change, that's your responsibility. If you want to get better, if you really want to look at why you're in this condition, it's up to you. And put a little bit of effort in and make those changes. Don't think of it as joining Weight Watchers or one of these programs. I'll do that to lose a bit of weight. It's not about that. Don't mind the weight. That will balance naturally once you make these changes, and you will feel better. You sleep better, you rest better, you're not getting the spikes, the highs and lows, and the changes will come over time. Give it 3 to 6 months and watch what happens. But it's very, very important that you don't go back.